Hey everyone, it's Nixie, and today I want to do another video into Cindra because she has started to become pretty popular in the new meta, where she has won few nationals from different countries, which I think is surprising because a lot of people said she was mediocre, but maybe they have a new list that's stronger now. I'm not complaining because Florian got pushed out of the meta thanks to her, and that was one of the harder matchups for us, so I'm very happy with Cindra's rise. So before we get into the gameplay videos, I do want to say thanks to you for watching, as well as my patrons for supporting me. Yours means a lot, and always happy to make more videos for you all. So with that, let's get into some gameplay videos. Alright, so in this Cindra matchup, this is another aggressive matchup, so we really want to go second. But the opponent is choosing for us and we are going to go first, which is unfortunate, but let's see how this game goes. So the loadout for this is our default aggressive matchup with everything that's aggressive inside, but bringing in those shelters as well as to take it on the chins, which should help a lot with the flick knives and stopping their mask of momentums, which is going to be very big to keeping them off tempo. Alright, let's look at our opening hand. We have a glistening, which is really big, but we don't have any pumps. So on this turn, we're just gonna want to see if we could force cards out of them and threaten some damage through reactions and arsenal that glistening. So we're gonna just start off with playing an unsheath and pitching a shunt and hoping the shunt comes around for a second cycle if it ever does, and maybe get a kill off of that if they are very low health. So here we are gonna swing, and they're gonna overblock, which is fine with us. They lost lava burst and throw daggers, so that's pretty good for us. And we're now gonna be able to arsenal a power card of glistening and also a blue to pitch. However, we draw into a D react and take it on the chin, which isn't great, and also not a pump. So it looks like we're not gonna be able to play that glistening next turn. Interestingly, the opponent plays Imperial Seal of Command, which I haven't really seen before. But that's fine, they're gonna just pass. On our turn, we could play out the glistening, pitching a blue and threaten some counters and bluff that we have some reactions. It's a bit risky because they could just have a D react that kind of stuffs us. So instead, I'm gonna try to play out my Warrior's Valor and see what they do. If they try to block out, that's great. If they don't want to block because 6 power is kind of high, so a D react can't cover it, they're most likely going to just let it through and then maybe block out the second swing. So that's fine too. So that's why I'm going to opt to just do the red Valor instead of glistening and save glistening for maybe the next turn. So let's see how that plays out. So as expected, the Cindra doesn't want to block the first attack, which is nice. We're gonna roll this into a vigor token instead of bracers so that we could pay for that glistening next turn, because we really want to make a really strong hand. So that's what I'm gonna opt to do, and I'm then going to just swing here by pitching take it on the chin and keep the shelter. And let's see if we could bluff that we have a reaction. And yeah, they're gonna let it through, so that's nice. Easily got a counter. We could play for Vigor here, but I'm gonna keep the Shelter because 5-card hand from them is kind of scary. So a Shelter can maybe, stop their mask turn. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. But instead, all red hand. Not great. And they pop their Imperial Seal. So I'm not gonna even try to block this out because it's gonna blow up my arsenal. Something's gonna hit, so my arsenal's gonna blow up. So I'm just gonna let this go through, and I can't play any D reacts, so I can't play my shelter at all. I can use it for the instant, but it's not worth it. So goodbye glistening. So now that glistening is gone, my priority is to either play Command and Conquer to take back tempo, or Arsenal the Steelblade Supremacy to have another power churn next turn. And I think I'm going to go for a power churn with the Steel Blade Supremacy instead the following turn. This next attack is going to come in for 3, and this is going to be the Mask Momentum churn, so I really want to block this out. So with Blood Runs Deep, they are able to get the hit through no matter what. So it's going to hit or consider as a hit. I do want to prevent the mask trigger, so I am going to block it out still. And that's fine. I'm going to block it with a Command and Conquer. And the last attack is Snatch, so good thing we kind of waited. Because if this hits, they get 2 cards. So I'm going to just block with Command and Conquer again. Since they don't have Arsenal, it doesn't do much. And then we're going to just Arsenal our Steel Blade Supremacy. And since we had Vigor from last turn, this is a free swing for us. So we'll see what they do. We're bluffing 2 cards, so but they might not block. And that's what they opted to not block, which is great. We could play for Vigor again. I sort of want to maybe keep Shelter, but at the same time, they're only 4 cards, so it's not as scary. So I think this is better to pay into Vigor and power up our next turn to help pay for the Supremacy. So that's what we're going to do here. Alright, so they're leading off with Ignite, and usually they'll follow up with Daggers, but they don't have a Dagger, so I'm not going to waste Kabuto here. I'm going to let that through. And then Spreading Flames, it's pretty good. We're going to just block this out here, and they don't have daggers, so they're not going to be able to flick knives. So they're going to have a pump to be able to go over to preserve the chain links from hitting, which they don't, so we could now feel safe and let this 3rd hit come through. And they're going to buy back their daggers and Arsenal for a 5-card hand. Alright, so our turn is now going to be a really strong turn with Supremacy, Glint, and Iron Song response. So I'm expecting to hit here. And they're going to just block with 1 card, which means that they must have at least 1 D-React. So yeah, here is the first D-React. Okay, there is a chance they have a second D-React. Another D-React, okay. But we top decked an Iron Song response. I think this should hit. Oh no. 3 D-Reacts that they drew into? Wow. Okay, well, what a timing for them to get those D-Reacts. So we lose our counter, but they don't have a churn, so it's fine. Okay, on our churn, we have our 3rd Supremacy. And we're going to just play this out here. I'm going to try to keep them off of a full 5-card hand, so I'm going to play out Unsheath as well and swing, and maybe bluff that I have a reaction. But they're going to just let this through, which is fine. I'm hoping that we get at least a yellow or blue, but instead we get a red, so we can't pay into Vigor or Bracers. So that's unfortunate, but it is a 0-cost reaction, so we're going to pitch Jagged here and hold on to Blade Flurry. So they left that hit as well, so we're gonna draw, and I'm gonna make a Vigor here because I don't think we need Singing unless we're gonna draw into Glistening, which I don't think we will. So we want to just Arsenal Blade Flurry and make sure we draw into a Go Again card. Oh. I guess we do draw into Glistening, and I should have kept the Singing, but it's fine. We only have 1 pump, which isn't great, so Glistening isn't that scary because they could just block with 2-3 blocks to cover for 6 damage if I swing for 4 plus Blade Flurry. So I am going to maybe block with 2 cards here, and probably block with Command and Conquer and Glistening. This one, if this hits, they get a Mark and then Fealty, which is not great because this churn is a loyalty churn, so they may want that Fealty to make things draconic to play. So I'm gonna just choose to block on Chainlink 2 instead of Chainlink 3. And they're opting to pay into Blood Splattered Vest. So they're either gonna play a attack action that costs 1 or swing with it. So, and this one I'm gonna block out because I don't want Mask to get triggered. Alright. They broke Chain. And then playing to Blood Splattered again. Okay. This is for 3. I could block this with the Yellow Valor, but I do want to threaten go again. So I could give up getting marked here. But I'm going to choose to not get marked. And I'm going to block this out. Because I have a feel like it's like Auto Dragon or something in the arsenal. And so this next turn, I'm gonna pop Bolters if they don't block this because I want to threaten them when they're at 11 health now. And since I have a blue, I could pay into Vigor and Bracers, so it'll be threatening a lot. So that's what we'll do. We'll pay into Bracers and then swing for 5. Alright, that hits. We're at 2 counters now, feeling really good. We still have our Helmet, Chest, and Bracers, so we're looking pretty healthy now. All we have to do is pretty much stuff this churn coming up, and we're good to go. And we have Trot Along and Twinning, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. And we really want to just keep Trot, Twinning, and a blue if possible, and only block with maybe Provoke and Equipment this following turn. Here's our other dragon, and this says go again. It's only Chainlink 2, so don't really have to block this. But I'm gonna block with Kabuto here because I don't want them to swing with Dagger this turn. So they're gonna just flick this, which is fine. This one we have to block out, or else they get Mass Trigger, so we're gonna block this with Provoke. And yep, they don't have a reaction, so there goes their Mask Momentum trigger. So the rest we could just take. And then finishing off with Lava Burst. Okay, that's all damage, but we have health, so we'll just take it. Now, I think I did misplay here. I should have blocked with Grains because there's a chance I don't get the full value of blocking it twice on Grains next turn. But I think it's fine. I don't think that they survive next turn anyway. So yeah, they're gonna completely overblock to try to reset, but this is where Twinning is so good. And we're gonna go around and then swing again here. And they can't block with anything. I mean, they could block with Flick, but not worth it. And we're gonna go over with Blade Flurry and get lethal. So yep, that was the game. Not too bad. didn't let them proc Masculine Momentum at all during that whole game, and I felt like we were in control the whole time. It was really unfortunate on that Supremacy churn. They all had the D-Reacts to cover it, but it looks like that's the only time they really got to play it. So overall, I think we were able to do pretty well. So with that, let's jump into the next game. Alright, this next game, we are not being able to choose again, which is unfortunate, so we are forced to go first again. And we're gonna do the same loadout of playing those D-Reacts, those shelters, and take it on the chin, and just try to race. On this hand, we have Unsheathed and Singing, Command and Conquer, Blade Flurry. Ideally, you could swing into maybe Glint, then play out Command and Conquer and Arsenal something, but that doesn't look like it's gonna happen. So instead, what we're gonna opt to do is play Unsheathed and pitch our Singing here, float one resource, and then if they perfect block, then we'll play Blade Flurry to go over by one, and then pay into Grains if it hits, and if not, maybe they'll have to waste that D-React, which is fine, and then we'll Arsenal Command and Conquer. Okay, they block for 7, so we're gonna play out the Blade Flurry and go over by 1 and see if they have that D-React, and they don't, so we get that 1 damage in for chip damage, and we get to pay into Vigor. We're not gonna break Bolters yet because that'd be just silly, so we're gonna just get that Vigor and Arsenal Command and Conquer. Alright, our hand is, again, not that great. Command and Conquer does end up clunking your hand sometime, so it could be good, but sometimes it could just be bad like this. So we're gonna just block with Command and Conquer here and see what they do. Okay, they have a attack reaction, so they're gonna pump it up, but good thing we made them use it up on Chainlink 1, so that means that they probably don't have one for Chainlink 3. And with our hand of Glistening and Singing, we really want to see if it could end up arsenaling that Glistening to have a really strong turn. So we're gonna block this again. Maybe force him to flick here. They're not going to. Okay, they're gonna keep 2 cards. And then we're gonna just throw out our CNC and try to steal back some tempo. And they're gonna opt to just take it, which is good for us, but could be scary because that means that their hand is pretty good and they sacrifice their Blood Runs Deep for this. So it could be kind of scary. So Loyalty, we're just gonna let it through. Don't want to bother trying to block that out. And this one on their heels, I don't want to get marked because they could get a Felty and then play something on their last attack that, you know, normally they wouldn't be able to on this turn because Loyalty. So we don't want to give them a Felty right now. So I'm gonna try to block this with Red Valor. And this is for 4. So yeah, not great. I could block this for 6 if I wanted to. But instead I'm gonna use up 1 equipment here. And then just hope that doesn't hit. And luckily it doesn't. So that's good for us. And this next turn I'm just gonna swing with a Naked Downblade and just get a Vigor. And go into next turn, hopefully with a Vigor and Singing and Glistening to set up a really strong turn. Nice, so they let it hit. So we are gonna get that Vigor here and set up for next turn. Oh, and then we naturally drew into Twinning Blade. So we have Singing and Twinning, which is nice. But we don't have a blue, which kind of sucks at the same time. And they're coming into the 5-card hand, so this could be kind of dicey. So what we're gonna do here is, when they play Ignite, I'm gonna just sack my Kabuto and hopefully I don't regret it with like a Retribution turn. And try to have a big strong turn on our end. They're gonna flick here and we're gonna prevent that with our Shelter. We're gonna let this brand go through. And Rabble, revealing Ignite. Let that through. And they don't play out their last card, so makes me think that they might have a D-React. But we'll see what they do. So when the opponent just overblocks by 3 on a Glistening Churn, it makes me think that they're hoping that we don't have enough pump to go over, or they feel safe with the D-React. It's like not a great number to look at. If they like completely overblock, I will just play Tuning here. But just blocking out for 3 is at the range where instead of just playing Twinning here, I think I'm gonna go for Singing and try to go above it by 1. And there is that D-React. And that was from hand, not Arsenal, so that's good to know. So we'll just Arsenal that. Alright, this is for 2. And most likely they're gonna swing Dagger and then end their turn and just keep their card in Arsenal because they didn't play their Arsenal last turn. And our hand kind of sucks, so I'm gonna try to save some health by blocking this out with Twinning. Yep, and they're gonna swing here. And move on to our turn. So we're gonna swing, and if they don't block this, we'll probably just break Bolters and also play out Blade Flurry. But it looks like they are gonna block, which is interesting. It means their hand is not functional, or they have a D-React. So with this breakpoint, we're gonna go over by 1. And because we have a Twinning, even if they have a D-React, we could play Twinning out to get the full value from Blade Flurry. So they do have that D-React that was in Arsenal. So it was Arsenal as we thought. I'm gonna swing again for 5. And this is kind of awkward because I don't want to Arsenal Ripple away. So I could just pay into Grains here if this hits. If it doesn't hit, then I think I'll just not Arsenal it because it's a really bad hand to Arsenal. But they have a D-React of Sync, and they didn't completely cover this. So I feel like I really want to break Bolters and force another card out of them. And there's a chance that they only have 2 blocks and it strips their whole hand. So that's what I'm gonna do. Break Bolters and just swing for 4. It's not really great, but since they kind of like misblocked, I kind of want to punish them. It could end up being a bad decision later on, but we'll see. Here, they blocked with two blocks, so it actually was fine. We didn't get a counter, but they don't have a churn, so overall, not too bad. And our churn is Supremacy, which is nice. So we're gonna just play Trot with it and swing, and hold on to one card and see if they overblock. And if they do, we'll just Arsenal Blade Flurry. Alright, so they're gonna completely overblock this and use up all their equipment for this. So that's pretty good for us. We're gonna just now Arsenal our Blade Flurry, and they're gonna pass it back. So on our turn, I'm gonna play out Warrior's Valor and Unsheath here to make it a really tall attack, to make it really hard to block the first hit and pay into Vigor. Rather than having a smaller attack and maybe hit, and then buff the second attack with Unsheathed, I think it's better to definitely buff the first attack into Cindra, because you do want to get the Vigor tokens. So yeah, so they don't block, and we're just going to pump this up and swing again, and crossing fingers that they don't have any D-reacts. And they don't, so we get our counter. Alright, next turn, we do have another Supremacies and some Gogan Source, so that's good. But they're gonna banish their loyalty and come in with a 6-card hand, which is really scary. So I'm not sure I'll be able to stop their mass triggers, but we'll try. So Chainlink 2, we let that through. Chainlink 3, we're gonna try to block this and pray that they don't have a reaction. We could play safe with Grains and Brave Forge to block this out with equipment for 4. But instead, I'm gonna just block this with Supremacy, because I rather have a pump to make sure I keep my counters at this point and hope that they don't have any attack reacts. So this is coming in for 4, and their chain link was disrupted, so it's totally fine to let this through. Nothing we could do about it. This is gonna come in for 3. Let that through as well. And this one for 5. We are gonna give up a card here and block this out so that they don't have mass trigger to arsenal something. Alright, our turn, we're gonna just play out the Blue Valor because it's just 1 more damage. And we do have a Vigor to sort of pay for it. Alright, so they're not gonna block this. I'm gonna create a Vigor and swing for 4 again and see if they have a D-react. Alright, so no D-reacts, pretty good. And we're at even life at 8 and 8. And we have 3 block on equipment left. Actually 4 block. So it's not terrible, but not great at the same time. So we're gonna have to start letting some of these through. We can't block everything out because we really want to keep Unsheathed and a Glint in our hand. This is coming for 4. We'll try to block this out. So we could be greedy and just block with only 1 card. But But we don't want to do that because we don't want to give them their mass triggers. So we're going to have to lose 1 block value on grains. But at least they didn't swing again, so that's fine. So we get to play our hand. This is 8, so this is lethal, so they're going to have to block here. And they're going to give up their mask because at this life total, they're not going to be hitting more than twice in 1 turn. So yeah, they don't really need it anymore. And they're going to overblock by 3 and we can't go over, so we lose all our counters. So now we're in a pickle for sure. So this hand is interesting because we could block with Iron Song response here and save Take It on the Chin for their flicks that might come up in the future. But I have a feeling we could be aggressive with a Red Valor and we have Iron Song response and a Blade Flurry in arsenal that we could go over their blocks and maybe end the game. So we could play conservative or aggressive. And I'm going to roll the dice here, and I'm going to choose to be aggressive and block with Take It on the Chin just to block for 2, leak 1 damage, and then next turn we're going to play out the Red Valor and swing. And hopefully we can just end the game here. So we're kind of wasting Take It on Chin's ability of making the agility token, but we're banking that we could kill them. Okay, so perfect block means that they might have a D-React here. So I could just play out Blade Flurry and force him to play out the D-React. But I'm worried that they're gonna just play out a D-React from Arsenal and then my Iron Song response won't do anything. So I can't threaten lethal. So instead, I'm gonna just play out the Iron Song response now to go over by 5 so their D-React can't cover it. And then come in and swing for 5 again. So that it still requires 2 cards to block it out completely. So it does hit, and we're gonna swing for 5 and see what they do. Because they can't just block with 1 card, I think. They'll have to at least block for 2 cards. Oh yeah, so it was a Sinking Arsenal, so our Iron Song response wouldn't have done anything. We'll have to just end up arsenaling the response. So I think it's good that we played it out. Alright, here for 3, we have a Supremacy and Command and Conquer, but no Vigor token. So I could try to be greedy and, you know, maybe block with 1 card here, maybe Supremacy. A swing by pitching Shelter. If they block, then I'll play Glint and hopefully draw into 2 resource cards to then play Command and Conquer. But that's so risky that I don't think that's worth it. So instead, we're gonna see what they do on the next one. And yeah, so they show us that they have a D-React coming up. So I'm gonna play out Shelter here. And then since they showed they have a D-React, I am going to actually just play out CNC and lose the counter on my Dawnblade. Because if they have 1 D-React and all their attack actions are 2 blocks, then they're gonna have to just block with all their attack actions to not die. But instead they have Wrath of Retribution, which is a 3 block, so they block with 2 cards and take 1 damage. Alright, so this is going to come in for 3. And I know the next card is a D-React, so my run through doesn't really do anything really. So not gonna play that, but I could pitch with it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna block this for 3, play out Goblet to make that Vigor and Agility token, and then pitch, run through, and swing, and hold on to take it on the chin. So then we'll have 1 resource float to maybe threaten pump. So if they don't have 2 D-Reacts, they're gonna have to still block with 1 card in hand, right? Because we're swinging for 3, a D-React will only cover for 4, and if you are able to pump it to 6, they're dead. So they're gonna have to give us 1 card here, unless they have 2 D-Reacts. And now that they are at 1, they are at shunt range. So if they ever swing with it, they could just die. But most of the time now, I don't think they're gonna swing with kunai. They're gonna be just flicking it. So it's gonna be a bit hard to kill them in shunt. But you never know. They might have a hand with like blues, so they're gonna be swinging daggers. And at this point, the Cindra must be sweating. Like, do I risk it? Do I not? Let me look through their attack reactions. And I have a lot of just 2 of attack reactions, so I might have played both. But they might think there's a 3rd still in my deck. And I don't have it, but they're just playing around it because it could be there. They don't know that it's not there. We're gonna Arsenal the take on the chin, draw up, and we get a no block, so that's kind of scary. So hopefully they don't kill us. Hopefully we're not punished. So this is coming in for 2. Can't let this hit, so we are gonna block, and I'm gonna block with Provoke because there's a chance we get to keep a blue and an overpower, which would be nice. And just kill him. We'll try to block with Provoke and Warrior's Valor first. So there goes Warrior's Valor. And they're gonna swing. And if you had Shunt, it's game over right now. Unfortunately, we don't. And we could just take this, but they're gonna kill us with Flick Knives. So we want to prevent as much damage as possible for as long as possible. So we're gonna have to give up our grains here. Gonna come in for 3, so we're gonna block this and pray that they just end their turn. Nope, this is a Rabble, and they reveal a Sync, so another D react, which is not great. So now we know that they have 2 D reacts, so there's a chance they don't block on the first attack at all, and just play out D-React from Arsenal. Alright, so we're gonna swing here. Oh, they actually block with a card, which is interesting. I'm gonna just play out the snag because I don't want to keep it in hand. It's just a liability at this point. So I'm just gonna play it out, get rid of it. And I don't think they could do anything to kill me right now. And last turn when they flicked, I could have played Taken on Chin. But I sort of want to give them the false impression that I don't have damage prevention with me. And maybe they kind of overreach and just try to kill me this following turn. But I draw into Shelter as well, so that's pretty good. So they're not going to strip our hand at least. So we're going to play out that Shelter. Block the Kunai. Such a strong card in this matchup. It's coming for 3, so we're going to block this out as well. And we want to float the damage prevention as much as possible. So we only used it once, so we still have 2 instances of damage prevention floating right now. But then we're gonna die if we let this hit, so we have to block it out, unfortunately. They are popping their boots. Okay. What are you gonna do? They're gonna dagger again. I still have damage prevention, so it's not gonna hit me. And they're gonna flick, but because I blocked everything out, this is not gonna hit as well. So we're still alive. And they pitched their sink, so they won't draw it the next hand, but the hand after that. So we're gonna swing here for 3, force a card out of them from hand, unless they're starting to feel desperate and not block. But they are gonna give us a card. And looks like they're gonna just block with their D-React and just only overblock by 2. So we had a pump for 3, they would have been dead. So it's kind of risky by them. Here, we're gonna just try to block this and make it look like we don't have any damage prevention left. And maybe they'll just flick here and try to see if they end the game. But no, they're very cautious, so they're gonna play this out. And this coming for 4 is pretty sad. If this was for 3, I think we could have kept the Valor and it would have been game over because they're fatigued now. But we are gonna block for 2 cards for 6 and use our Take It on the Chin to block the Flick Knives. And they're just on 3 cards. Alright, so they have no daggers left, so I know they have a blue, and they have the D-React in hand too, so they have a blue and a D-React. If their arsenal is not a 0 cost attack, we'll win, because they won't be able to attack. Alright, so they play the D-React. A Cindra to get daggers. And please don't let it be a 0 cost attack. And we don't have damage prevention. Oh, sad. So, yeah, it is a 0 cost attack. They block this, they flick. I'm gonna ripple away. No, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, so we're gonna get hit by Flick Knives here, and that's good game. So we end up losing this one, which is unfortunate. But, you know, it was a really hard-fought game. It was really close, and we were going to fatigue them. Went down to the wire. I think there was that one misplay where I ended up playing out Take It on the Chin, and then I played Red Valor and then kept the Iron Song response. So maybe that could have saved that 1 health that I needed. I feel like at the same time, maybe if I kept the Take It on the Chin and blocked with Iron Song response, I wouldn't have threatened lethal, and maybe they had a stronger hand. So yeah, I don't know. But that was a really close game. I enjoyed that one a lot, even though we lost. I think it was very fun. But overall, the Cindra matchup, I think it's still Dory favored. Probably like 65-75%, I think. Especially if your list is even more aggressive with something like Dauntless is very good into this matchup, because as you saw, they mostly run the splattered vest, or they end up running the furnace like we saw in this one. So paying for those 0 cost D-Reacts is very painful for them. So Dauntless is a very strong card in this matchup, as well as something like Commanding Performance instead of Command and Conquer, because that makes it so you just rack up counters really fast too, because they don't block at all. So yeah, if your list is tuned more aggressive with those cards, like I had in the list previously, I could even say this matchup is like an 80% matchup and very favored. But as of now, probably like 65-70 with my current list. So with the meta shaping up to as it is now with Gravy and Cindra taking over, I think it's good time to be playing Dory, and I hope everyone else feels the same. And we'll see how she does in the future. Anyway, that's it for now. Best of luck with the rest of Nationals and all your games, and I'll see you guys next time.